How's it going? Wooden Spoon Supercoach here. The team picker is finally out. I definitely enjoyed having a few weeks off of not staring at spreadsheets for hours on end every afternoon, but we're here now. We're back in the grind, and we've got Mac from Flat Out Footy, a rugby league board game. He'll be joining us for many videos this year. Good to have you on board, Mac. How you going?
I'm very good, thanks, mate. Happy to be here and looking forward to getting into our teams for next season.
Yeah, so obviously these are going to be very different to round one, but that's always how it goes. It's just fun to kind of get sort of a foundation of where we're starting, and more cheapies are going to come out. So take all of this with a bit of a pinch of salt, but I think it's safe to say the sort of gun selections are going to be fairly solid. So let's get right into it. Who are you thinking for dummy half?
Mate, I have had a look at the prices and I threw my entire draft out the window and
Feel
I've
you.
gone with two, yeah, two cheapies in the hooker position for myself. Brandon Smith, love to see him back on the field, getting some more minutes and should be playing a key role at Rabbitohs, coming in at 235,000. Love that. And then Owen Paddy from the Raiders, loved him every time he was on the field last year. And I just hope again that he gets more minutes this year and we see a few more of those attacking stats come through for him this year.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I mean, my team is called Paddy's Fatties from last year. I saw him in the trial and I was just obsessed with him. I haven't gone with him this year though, and you literally told me about the Brandon Smith pick yesterday, and I was like, oh damn, that's a really good pick, and I've forgotten about him immediately again. But who I'm looking at is Jake Simpkin. Just with Croker's retiring from concussion, really sucks because he was good for us, an absolute workhorse. But this means Jake Simpkins going to come in, more than likely play an 80-minute role because I don't think we have another hooker signed. Classic Manly fashion there. But in 80-minute games, I believe he scored 60 to 65 and he's priced at 43. So there's 20 points of value there. I think he's going to easily make some money and has potential to score some decent points along the way if Manly click. Big if there, but we'll see how we go. Second slot, I really don't like this. I might have to change it to Brandon Smith, but I'm going Reed Marnie. He just feels very underpriced. Fresh transfer to the Cowboys. I think he could do a job and potentially make
Yeah,
some money.
I think he's going to play 80 minutes or something up there as well. And if he is, I'll definitely be having a look at him. But at 418,000 with the salary cap that we have this year and the starting price of some of the other players, I just couldn't afford Reed Marnie. I wanted him, but I went for Owen Paddy.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head of a Cowboys hooker that would be on the bench, or I mean, they lost Reese Robson. I'm fairly sure he was playing 80 minutes. Oh, Carl Lawton, maybe. Anyway, we'll have
Yeah,
to wait
Lawton.
and see on that. But yeah, considering Brandon Smith is under 300k, that could be a very easy way of freeing up some money. So I like that a lot. Who are you looking at in the front row forwards?
Mate, I was thinking Payne Haas, Terrell May, and Keon Kalamatangi on the bench just to start things off super strong. But again, the money situation,
Yeah,
I've decided to skip over Terrell May. Payne Haas and Keon Kalamatangi will be my starting front row forwards. I'm going strong on the front row to start off the season. I think they're going to bust out big numbers for the first 10 rounds or so, uh, as if everybody's not going to have Payne Haas in their team. So yeah, Payne Haas and Keon Kalamatangi taking my spot number one and two in the front row.
love it. I can't say no to all three of them. I'm going Payne Haas, Keon, and Terrell May. And it is a lot of money, but I just think that the consistency is too valuable at the start of the year. I just can't pass up the gun forwards. I feel like the sort of the spine players and the outside backs, especially last year, they took a little bit of time to warm up. And we'll come back to this when we get to the fullbacks and stuff. But I just like having some consistent guys that they're not going to go crazy low unless they get injured or head knocked or whatever. And I think Payne Haas is going to be a solid captaincy option until we start to see the outside backs start clicking. And yeah, I think it's just the right spot to spend your money. I'm happy with it.
Yep. So you're going heavy in the front row. You're going three big boppers over 600k. I like it. I got two
Yes.
cheapies on the bench. I got Hopboy from the Bulldogs. He has a dual position with 2RF, so he's only about 310,000 dual position. I like that flexibility to start the season. And then Ben Takura from the Broncos, the
Nice.
absolute giant who broke his ankle or his foot or something last year. If he can get some more game time this year at the Broncos, I can't see him getting any worse. He is going to go up in value for sure. So a couple of cheapies on the bench for me in the front row.
What was Takura priced at? I'm curious to
Two,
put him in maybe
two
myself.
35.
Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, wow, okay. I may need to make some changes. However, who I've got in here is a bloke who has apparently impressed the coach in the off season, and that is Pacifici Tonga. I think
Mm.
it was Whisperer I heard talking about him, or maybe it was Timmy Williams, one of them. Pacifici Tonga and Hamish Stewart both really impressed the coach over the off season, and a couple of guys that I can just see getting increased minutes. And when it comes to forwards, that's just cash gen. So I can't really turn my nose up at that. However, your mate down below 300k, that could be a go.
And Takura. Yeah. Let's hope he gets some minutes. We'll see how he goes in the preseason trials and stuff. So
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, I kind of am a little bit Broncos heavy at the moment, but it's probably not the worst team to be heavy on. They did just win the
that
comp.
that was my biggest mistake last year is two Broncos heavy during the start of the year when they weren't good. And
Yeah.
then I faded the Broncos towards the end of the year when they came good. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going for a more balanced approach, I suppose, this season.
Second row forward, who are you looking at?
Mate, in the second row, I'm looking for some strike power and somebody who is as tough as they come and really should be hitting a few more holes and scoring a few more tries this year round. Viliami Kikau at the Bulldogs. I need him in the second row. And then I've got Pat Carrigan as a consistent gun, and then Max Plath, one of my
Mm,
favorite players on the rise, was taken out from injury a lot last year, and I wasted so many trades getting him in, and then trading him out, and then getting him in and trading him out every time he came back from injuries. But this year, hopefully, he's consistent, and yeah, I'd love to see Max Plath play a lot more games this year. So he should go up in value if he can stay on the field.
I love it. I think it was year before last. I had Plath in the hooker slot,
Hmm.
and hooker's just a nice one to be able to get a dual position up there because it's just
Hmm.
really low upside unless you've got your like attacking weapons, but we can't really afford them at this point of the year. So I really like the Psychoplath. As is that a Kempy nickname? I think it might be.
I don't know, but he's a damn good player. I remember watching him thinking that when he moved to dummy half, actually, for the Dolphins, and I was thought, geez, this guy is a natural. He's so good. He could be the next Cam Smith if this was his position. And he's just such a workhorse, and I love watching him play. So yeah, hopefully he can stay on the field and pump out 80 minutes every week, and I reckon his value will go up for sure. So yeah, I've got Kickow, Carrigan, and Plath in the second row starting for me. Obviously, very Queensland biased here as well. So you'll notice I tend to go for Broncos, Dolphins, Titans players where I can, or Queenslanders from the teams that play in New South Wales, with the exception of Payne Haas. It's yeah, I'm a big
Yeah.
Queensland guy, so very biased with all my picks.
Unfortunately, it's hard to argue against as a Welshman, which hurts, but hopefully we get you this year, bro. I can't even say it with confidence because we've been saying it with confidence for fucking ages, and oh, what's wrong with this? I don't know what the problem is. Oh god, they're just built different up there, I guess. I'm also. You'd think I'd slow down going into the second row forward, but I'm not. Hudson Young straight in. Another one I just can't pass up. So what's that? I've spent nearly about 2 million in 4 players in the forwards. So
Yeah.
quite chunky. Just when I had him last year and when he was fit and firing, it was ridiculous. I
Hmm.
can't pass it up. And now is where we slow down because there's a lot of positions to fill, and I've already spent heaps of money. So we're slowing right down. Tolty, he's going in
Hey, good
for
choice.
365k. I thought you might like that one.
Yep.
I've just heard a lot about him being touted to have an increased output this year. You might be able to tell the viewers more than I can about Tolty.
Yeah, he's just looking for after a tough preseason at the Broncos. He's going to be fitter and stronger and faster than he was last year. He's going to be more in sync with the players after coming through sort of late or in the middle of this season. I think he got poached from Manly. So yeah, Tolty with a full preseason at the Broncos, he's going to be definitely improved this year. Also, it looks like he's got the dual position. So mate, I
Yeah.
actually rate that choice. That's a great choice.
Yeah, the dual positions are kind of few and far between this year,
Mm,
which I like. I think it's going to make for more unique squads.
agreed.
Off the top of my head, Latrell Mitchell, he's center wing only. I don't rate it, but if he was fullback center wing dual, I feel like every man and his dog would have him.
Hmm.
And I feel like we can just, where we can make teams more unique, I think we should do it because it just makes the game more fun. My last guy, I'm not that sold on this guy, but I figure, he's just had another year with the Tigers. Surely he's going to slowly work his way up, get some more minutes, perform better. And it is Sione Fainu.
Yeah, nice. Good choice.
Um, yeah, I feel like that's one that could change, especially with the money I could get from swapping Reed Marnie to Brandon Smith. But I don't know. The logic seems okay. I don't hate it. As
Maybe you could
for
upgrade one of your benchies instead. Who have you
yeah,
got on the bench?
well, I've got enough on the bench, so might need to be upgraded. But I don't mind starting with enough, maybe two at the start of the year. On the bench, we'll start off with Brendan Piakura. Like I said, very Broncos heavy, so I
You
don't
are
think.
Broncos heavy, mate.
Yeah,
This is. I thought you were the Manly guy and I was the Broncos guy. What's going on here?
yeah. Unfortunately, Simpkin is the only Manly player I've got at the moment. I need to be convinced. Um, as much as I'd love to put Turbo in, put Garrick in, put Olakawatu in, I need to think with my head, not my heart at the moment. And it hurts. It hurts a lot, but you
Bro
got to
has
play this
no
thing
faith
smart.
in his club. No faith in your club. No
Not
faith in
no
your state.
faith. I
Come on.
just less faith. The thing is, when I've supported Manly pretty much my whole life, and when I rate them, they seem to fall off a cliff. And when I go into a season kind of feeling like this, we end up with like a 2021 kind of season. You just don't know with Manly. And that's why I love supporting them. It's like you get both ends of the scale, you get the heartbreak, you get the absolute rush when we start clicking. And because when we are clicking, our attack is, I think, the most exciting in the comp. Anyway,
It's
that's
up there.
my
It's
my
up
little
there.
cope session done.
I mean, it's not.
Um,
It's up there. I wouldn't say most, but it's up there. Come on. When you click. When you click.
I think maybe not the best attack, but I think it's the most like unique attack and very like throw the ball around type of stuff. Anyway, people didn't click on this to hear me glaze Manly. Um, Atavalu Lasardi, another one I've heard from Whisperer. He's just a cheap guy. May get a spot on the bench with the horrific injury to Eli Katoa. There's minutes to fill there. There's a case to be made for Sean Blaw as well. And then I've got enough. So, not much to say there. I do have three nuffs at the moment in the team, but it's not going to stay that way. More cheapies are going to come out. So, just gives me a bit of wiggle room to figure out the rest of my team.
Nice one. I got a couple benchies on the second row. Charlie Geimer from Parramatta Eels. If you have a look at his 80-minute games, he absolutely smashes it. I'm not entirely sure why he didn't get more 80-minute games this season gone, but if he plays 80 minutes, he is going to like essentially double in value. So I'm looking to hold Charlie Geimer for a bit and see what happens there. Then I got Jaden Hunt at the Broncos. He did get a few games, so even though he's coming in about 260,000, maybe he'll see a bit more game time. We'll see what happens with the preseason stuff. And then Roddy at the Canberra Raiders played one game for 101 points last season. So, and you know what that says? That says that Canberra knows how to put a second rower through a hole. So,
I mean,
if
they
I'm
do
going to
have
have
Hudson.
yeah, that's right. If I'm going to have a cheap second row on the bench, it may be somebody that might score if they do get a game. So we'll see how we go with that. I definitely was eyeing off Xavier Willison with the dual position as well. I think I do want to make room for Xavier Willison in my team, even potentially over a Ben Tolte or a Brendan Piakura. If I were you, with being so Broncos heavy, I might switch one of them out for Willison.
Mm.
He leveled up an insane amount this season gone, and yeah, with the whole another preseason under his belt, I wouldn't be surprised if Willison is the guy that's out there with Payne Haas starting front row this year. Otherwise, he'll be jumping on the field when Payne comes off, and it'll be like you don't even miss a beat. So yeah, Willison, absolute weapon. Definitely should be looking to find some space for him in the teams.
I can't disagree with that. And he's only, what, 90k more than Tolty?
That's it.
So if I do manage to free up 90k from that hooker trade I was talking about earlier, then Xavier Willison will be going straight in. I like that. And my second row forward does need a bit more juice. I can't just put all my eggs in the Hudson basket. If he gets a HIA round one, then I'm fucked. So need to be careful there. This is an interesting one in the halves because there's lots of good, expensive, and cheap options. How are you stacking them up?
Basically, I'm fading Cleary. I did it for a lot of this season gone, and it worked out okay. Isaiah Katoa, very Queensland bias up here. So yep, Dolphins. He's the man. Hopefully another preseason, a bit of a bad performance by his team in the international stuff. So yeah, he'll be looking to make up for that, and he'll come out really strong to start the season. A lot of hype around him, so hopefully that pressure doesn't get to him. And he is about that 640, so he's not exactly cheap for a second-rate halfback, but I think he has the potential to be like a top three half this year. Even in Supercoach, there's an argument that he was the best or most consistent half throughout the season on the footy field, but didn't necessarily translate. So yeah, we'll see if he can turn that into some more points on the Supercoach side of things this season. And then Daniel Atkinson, who has been given only the halfback position after Flano's statement about him being the starting seven, I suppose. Absolute gun Queenslander. I wanted him in the team this season, but the Sharks didn't play him. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing what Atkinson can do now that he's the starting seven for the Dragons. Katoa and Atkinson.
Yeah, I rate it. I think Katoa, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I'm not entirely confident on this, but is he not a Welshman?
He is from New South Wales. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I can see a
Hey,
world. Go
yeah,
on.
if you guys pick him, I'll be more afraid than ever.
Yeah.
But you won't. So, all right. Up to
So
you, man.
if he absolutely carves up, which I can totally see happening, I think the Dolphins are the team to watch this year. Their attack is insane when they're fully fit, which they seem to be at the moment. Hopefully nothing happens to them in the preseason. They just absolutely carve teams up, and Katoa is going to be the one pulling the strings. So say he has an amazing, first couple of months. Cleary goes down like he tends to do around the origin period. I think they're probably more likely to go between Katoa and maybe Mitch Moses than bringing Hines in again. So it's entirely possible.
Yeah, but they'll probably go for Moses. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like
Yeah.
if New South Wales would pick Katoa, I'd be afraid, but you won't. So
I wouldn't be against it, but obviously he is very young.
oh yeah, I
I
know
can
he's
see
a
it
gun,
though.
and but again, like we'd see how he goes on the state of origin stage. It could be a whole new thing that he's not used to. But
Hmm,
we digress, my friend. We digress. Who have you got
we
as your
do.
halfback?
I have got. I'm gonna have to check my phone off completely. Oh wait, we were just talking about him. I think. Yeah, I'm going Moses. I have to scroll down quite far for him.
He's actually such a good player.
543k for Moses. Lomax is
Mm.
gone, so he's going to be taking over the goal kicking. I think that's all the convincing I need to get him in. We've seen the heights he can score. He has a great ceiling. He can go a little bit low, but I think Para are another team that are going to improve heavily this year.
Yep.
So that's good enough for me. And even
Yep.
if he makes, 100k, then I can flip him to most other halfbacks if one of my cheapies does well. So I think he's a very good starting point. He's got potential to get me lots of points and lots of money. So that's exactly what you want. On the bench, I'm going Atkinson as well.
Yep.
Um, yeah,
He'll probably be the
you
most
just,
picked player at the start of the season.
I think so. Yeah, it'll be between him and Pezzett, but maybe the only argument I'd say for Pezzett being more popular is maybe more people want to go with two gun halves, whereas 5'8" is a little bit more of a sort of duddy position.
Well, Pezzett got the 5'8" role. So,
Yeah,
spoiler alert,
yeah.
he is my starting 6.
Starting.
Yes.
Wow. Who you got on the bench?
Are we going into 5'8"s? I
Yeah.
got Wishart. Wishart is my man on the
Oh,
bench.
I like that. We love
Yeah.
Wishy.
Look, and look, Wishy. If Wishy starts, I'll probably put him on. But I'm just not sure where his role is going to be with the Storm this year. He does have the dual position with the halfback as well, which I love. Another
Mm,
dual position guy. Just get him in there. He's Mr. Fix It for him. I'm sure he's going to get game time. I know you actually used him a lot for this season gone, so rated him quite highly. And yeah, he's somebody that I really like as a player, but just doesn't seem to get enough game time at the Storm. If he goes to Perth or something like that, he'll be a gun in Supercoach. But yeah, so I got Wishart on the bench in my 6 and Pezzett starting as, yeah, the 235,000, bro. You can't go past it. The
yeah.
price of some of the players, it's just too high. We need some guys to come in, make some money. That's all he has to do. If he goes up to 500,000, and I can move him onto somebody like a Munster, I'll be stoked.
Yeah, I love it. How much is Wishart?
402.
402. Okay, that's not too bad.
Hmm.
Yeah, Wishart is definitely one of my favorite non-manly players. I love watching Wishart play. He's just so well-rounded, and he is Mr. Fix-It. You just put him anywhere, and Storm kind of are already a little bit depleted going in this year, so I don't mind that. And he's probably one I'll look at if we can see a bit more of a consistent role from him. Then maybe around price changes, I'll look at him. Myself, though, I am going for Mr. Walker.
Oh man, I was tempted.
Yeah, this was a very sort of last minute pick. I needed someone cheap, and I wasn't expecting to get someone as quality as Cody Walker for under 400k. And
Hmm.
I forget what the stat is, but he scores or averages significantly higher when Latrell's in the side.
Hmm.
Obviously, Latrell is going to be playing center, not fullback, so who knows if that affects it. But he doesn't really have to do much to score to his value. And until another cheap but good 5'8" option comes along, I am more than happy with that. And then obviously for the reserve, we're going Pezzett. You know, Pezzett and Atkinson, I think most people are just going to lock and load into their teams.
Yeah, they're the cheapies of the year for sure.
Yeah, so far at least.
Now, speaking of Souths, I am going to get a piece of that action because Cody Walker, Latrell Mitchell, they are going to be out to provide tries to AJ on the wing. Alex Johnson
Oh,
is definitely on my CTW to start the season. He is looking for that record, and those boys are going to be passing him the ball.
yes.
So if you want a piece of that South action, AJ probably the guy who's going to get the points at the end of it. So yeah, I'm putting my money on him to start off in the CT dub with Herbie Farnworth, the absolute gun, best center of the season last year. Had him for most of the season, and yeah, probably won't trade him all year, even if he has a couple of downers. Then I've got had to go pretty cheap here. Grant Anderson and Dean Mariner getting the Broncos wingers onto the field for some points early season.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Normally, I'm not a fan of going both wingers from one club, but if you're going to do it, have it be the premiers who score a shitload of points. So I can't really argue against that. Have you got any cheapies in mind? Or bench
Uh,
players, I should say.
Yeah, so I've got Jesse McLean, brother of Casey McLean, was supposed to be the one that got the spots and got jumped by Casey. But I did see Jesse play once or twice throughout the season, and he's a tough kid, and he's out to make his place in that Penrith lineup. So if he gets a start, then he'll definitely go up in value. But if he doesn't get a start, at least he's a bit of enough on the bench there. He might come in and fill a role if some people get injured. So Jesse McLean, Will Warbrick at the
Nice.
Storm is coming in at only 414,000 after missing a few games this season. So yeah, Will Warbrick, he could go up in value and definitely one to potentially play in some good matchups. And then otherwise, I've gone for Sam Rani at the Eels, who was a bit of a standout for me watching some of the Eels games last year. But he also has that dual position with second row, and that's something that is sorely missed, I think, with positions this year. So yeah, Samrani, Jewel, CT Dub, 2RF. He is on my bench.
I looked at all three of them and can't argue with any of them. I think center wing is probably what's going to change the most, especially on the bench side of things. That's where, there's always a couple of rookies coming through. Um, so that's why I've double nuffed on the bench for my center wings, but we'll get there. First up, I am going Kale Iro. I just need a piece of that left side on the Sharks, and it's either him or Mulatalo, and Mulatalo can go very low, can go very high, but at least if Mulatalo's scoring a lot of tries, hopefully Iro is getting a lot of try assists and line break assists with it,
Mhm.
and he's just got such good base. I think he rivals, what's his face, Farnworth. He
Yeah.
just got injured, so we didn't see him that much. In terms of consistency, I can't
hmm
remember how many games in a row it was he scored a try. I want to say 10
It was
before he,
something like that.
yeah, which is for a center is unheard of. So I need him in my team, and I also feel like I was kind of robbed of a bit of ownership because I had him, he got injured. There was no chance I was going to trade him out.
Mm.
So I would like Farnworth, but he's just very expensive. And I do have a little piece of the Dolphins coming up, but we will get to that. Second, I am also going for, I'm just going to have to type this in. Going to have to scroll too far. Anderson.
Yeah.
It just seems like a bit of a no-brainer. I won't go too in depth because you just did. And yeah, that's good enough for me. Another guy who I feel that I got robbed of ownership of, even though I didn't start with him last year. I was
Oh,
toing and froing for so long, didn't end up getting him, and it is Tamale.
yes.
I think it's only right to have a piece of the Raiders' outside backs, and Tamale seems to be the one with the most base and the most consistency and can go high.
hmm Good
Um,
choice.
you do have your what's his name, Xavier Savage, Jed Stewart, if he even gets a start, but Xavier Savage is just two rocks of diamonds. I'm very happy with him, and I'm going to go the other side of the South's wingers with Tyrone Munro.
Okay.
I've just heard too much about him being highly touted. He's a very big guy, and I imagine another year he's gotten even stronger. And I feel like, do we think Latrell will be right center? He'll probably be roaming.
Doesn't he play left center when
Does
he
he?
plays center? I
Who
feel
am
like
I
it's going
thinking?
to
Oh yeah,
be,
Graham's on the right. Campbell
yeah,
Graham.
I
Yeah,
feel
yeah, yeah.
like it's going to be Cody Walker and Latrell giving the ball to AJ on the left.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if Jai Gray's sweeping around the back on the right with linking up with Campbell Graham, I mean, well, people won't be expecting him to go that way, so maybe that puts Munro in a little bit of a good position to begin with. And if Latrell does any roaming at all, then I love it because yeah, everyone's going to be looking at AJ. It makes sense. I hear you.
Yes. I do remember last year when I did have AJ, I traded him in purely because I wanted him when he broke the record, which didn't end
Mm.
up happening. But I remember watching and thinking, they keep going to the wrong wing. So if they keep that trend going, then that'll be very good for me. I doubt it, but also I don't think I can afford AJ. Campbell Graham is actually another option. He's about the same price as Munro. Just after a little bit of a down year last year, obviously he was coming back from injury. If we do see him get anywhere near the heights we know he can get to, he'll be going straight in, almost a straight swap for Munro. So I'm happy with that. A little bit of a rogue one for the first little benchy is DWZ.
Yeah, I had a look. I couldn't do it, bro. I've seen him just have some really flat games, I guess is what I'm trying to
Yes.
say. Yeah, so look, I wanted a piece of the Warriors and I don't mind the pick and I respect the courage.
Yeah, I feel like the Warriors should do a lot better. They've got Luke Metcalf back. I wonder how much he is. I feel like we would have looked at him if he was a good price, but yeah, I just think with Metcalf in the team, their attack is a lot better. They were decimated by injury, and I think with all those players back, it should benefit him. 40 points isn't too much. I know that he can go below that, but he doesn't have to. If he scores a try, he will be getting, 50
Yeah.
plus. So I don't have the most faith in it, but it's just slim pickings in terms of cheapies. Maybe I even look at swapping him to a Sam Rani and then I can upgrade somewhere else. Um, but yeah, I'm happy with it for now.
Yep.
And as for the other two positions, I'm just double nothing because I feel like it's not really worth putting too much brain power into these lower center wing picks because it's going to change so much. As long as I don't get too married to my other picks and actually leave myself a bit of cash to change those over when a cheapie does pop up.
I know we said off air that, well, rather, you were telling me before we started recording that you start with enough or two most seasons. I personally like all my players to be, doing something. Whether if they're not scoring points, then hopefully they're at least going up in cash for me.
Yeah.
So, look, do you want to? Are you going to start the season with three nuffs, and what do you do there? Like they don't go up in value. Do you just move them on? Like how do you get value out of moving them on later?
So I definitely won't be starting with three. It'll be two maximum. Last year I started with one, and it was just not an issue at all. I think I had it in second row forward, and I suppose the value I get out of them is just being able to inject a little bit more across the rest of the squad. And you never get all your cheapies right. There's always a few that you need to kind of burn a trade on to get someone in. And it also removes that. So it is very high risk. And if you're going to start with lesser so one nuff, but if you're starting with two, then you definitely need to nail every single one of your cheapies. And you're probably going to be looking at using a boost in rounds 1 and 2 to make sure you do that. Um, I'm confident that I will spend enough time in front of this screen before round 1 that I'll be able to get it most of the way there. It also depends on our variety of cheapies. So if there really just isn't that many, I'd rather have enough in my team than a dud cheapie that then becomes an AE nightmare. For those who don't know, if you've got who's a good example, like a Jalen Groot last year who loved to score like 9. As soon as you're doing the VC loophole, it's not really as relevant with the flex position now, but I'd rather just a non-playing nuff than a 9 that can potentially get in the way of any tactics I want to use.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely won't be starting with 3. I think that is crazy. I think 2 is probably pushing it. But 1 I'm happy with and I can get behind.
All right.
So now the fun ones. Who are you looking at for fullback?
Um, basically, I'm broke. So I need three guys that are going to come out, smash it, and generate some cash. Basically, I'm looking at Iyongi from the Eels as second year fullback. Should pick up a little bit. Lomax is out. Moses is in there. Who's Moses going to be feeding the tries to? Potentially Iyongi. And if Iyongi's not the one scoring them, then maybe he's the one setting them up. So yeah, I'm looking for Iyongi. He had an awesome start to last season. I actually traded him out too early. I had him as a cheapie and I traded him on sort of round 4 or 5. Wish I held on to him. So Iyongi at the Eels. Then Keanu Kinney, no surprises there. Probably going to be one of the most popular players of the season.
Yeah, I agree.
And in the flex, I've put Sua Falongo from the Storm. I suspect he'll take Pappy's spot. He's coming in about 5'10", so he's not exactly cheap, but the kid is electric to watch. And yeah, look, he might have some rocks and diamonds in him, but that's the game these days. That's what fullbacks are like, and that's why he's in my flex.
I like it. I've had Farlongo for at least a decent period for, I want to say, the last 2 years, and it is so exciting having him in your team and watching him play because he's got a little bit of Walsh about him. But I
Yeah.
would say even more electricity sometimes than
Yeah,
Walsh.
yeah.
He just does some crazy shit.
Yeah, his energy, he just looks like he's overcharged or something, like,
Yeah.
and he's trying to get that extra energy out. Yeah, he just looks so good with the
And
ball. So yeah, can't
if
wait to
he's
see
playing
him
80
play more.
minutes,
Yeah, exactly.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to pass that up. So I've got him in there as well.
Yeah, bro.
Um,
Even if Nick Meaney is playing fullback and Falongo's on the wing or something, like if he's on the starting side, like he's going to score points.
yeah, if he's on the field, that's enough for me.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm going with a little bit of a different one. So I was very, very set on going Teddy and Walsh.
Mm-hmm.
I've completely veered away from that because
Mm-hmm.
A, money, obviously, and B, last year especially, a lot of people went for with the flex coming out, especially everyone thought, oh, three gun fullbacks, that's the thing to do, which I still think it is. I think you still do want a fullback there, but it takes a little bit of time for the outside backs to warm up. And that's why I've gone hard in the front row forward because they're consistent, easy points. So I've gone away from the super expensive guys and I'm putting in the hammer.
All right.
Just we've seen his ceiling. He's I think he scored multiple 150s last year. If the Dolphins are going to be as good as I think they are, if they can stay fit, if Hammer can stay fit, obviously there's the Origin threat looming there, but I don't care. He could score me 1,000 points before Origin, so that's a very, very tough one to pass up. And 700k, I like that. Average, if he can average 70, I think that's very doable for Hammer.
Mm.
Then I also have Farlongo and Keanu Kinney. So I think they're going to be quite owned.
Yeah.
And why not? It makes
Yeah.
sense. They're
Yeah.
kind of similar players. They're very electric.
Mm-hmm.
Bang. So that's how the team's looking. Um, Definitely not going to stay the same, but I'm quite happy with it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just very excited to be clicking on players and putting them into my team. It's a couple of months. I miss it so much already.
Yeah, it's almost time, bro. It's almost time for the games to start back up and for us to be sweating over the spreadsheet week in, week out.
Yeah. Oh God. I'm saying that like I'm dreading it. I love sitting and crunching the numbers. And speaking of, I have got a round 1 to 11 in-depth spreadsheet that'll probably be gone over in the next video. It'll be similar to the one last year, but a little bit condensed. And then we also have a almost top 100 players of interest that's going to be a long video that will break down. We've got notes, we've got an out of 10 rating. I will have to go through and change all the expected prices to actual prices, so that's nice that we can do that. But yeah, so that's what you can expect from us next. Um, yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining the team, Mac. It's very good to have you aboard.
Thanks for having
My
me.
my OBS setup has never looked better, so appreciate you for that one big time.
That's all good, mate. And yeah, thanks for all the great content last year and looking forward to smashing out some more videos with you this year. And looking forward to seeing what these teams look like in the round one reveal, which we'll obviously have to do right before round one kicks off.
Yeah. Oh, my team's going to change probably every day until round one. So,
Sounds about right.
alrighty, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hooroo.